Hey folks, my name's SamFaddis. This is Ground Truth, where we try to get past the hype and get past the spin and talk facts and reality, at least for a little while. Today we're talking about the United States Air Force and combat air patrols over Syria. There have been a number of reports coming out of the Middle East recently, most notably from DEBKA, which is an Israeli site with very close ties to Israeli military intelligence. And these reports indicate that the United States is now maintaining 24-hour-a-day combat air coverage of Syrian airspace. We have F-18s, F-22s, probably F-35s as well in Syrian airspace. And nobody flies over Syria without our express permission at this point. That would include the Syrians themselves, but the Iranians and the Russians as well. Presumably, since we just parked a big carrier battle group off the coast of Syria, we will see U.S. naval aircraft involved in this operation in the near future as well. A couple of questions come to mind, at least. One, what's going on? Why did we just seize control of the territorial airspace of another sovereign nation? And second, why aren't we talking about it? Well, the what is Iran. Barack Obama, in his infinite wisdom a few years ago when he signed the disastrous nuclear accord, also effectively scrapped the entire containment policy that we had maintained for about 40 years to keep the Ayatollahs bottled up and, relatively speaking, under control. He then handed them $150 billion and told them to have fun. So this is sort of the functional equivalent of handing a pyromaniac a can of gas and a box of matches and cutting him loose. So the effect was predictable. The Iranians have set the Middle East on fire, from Yemen to Lebanon to Iraq to Syria. And one of the results of this is that we now have effectively the Legion of Doom parked on the northern border of Israel in Lebanon and Syria. We have Hezbollah, which is not just a terrorist group anymore, it is an army. We have a whole bunch of Iraqi Shia militia, which are basically Hezbollah clones built by the Iranians. We've got the Iranians themselves. We've got Russian technical advisors. All of these folks armed to the teeth and in possession of, amongst other things, something like 150,000 missiles and rockets capable of hitting literally every square inch of Israeli territory. This is not a nuisance for the Israelis. This is not an inconvenience for the Israelis. This is rapidly becoming an existential threat to the continued existence of the state of Israel. The Israelis, on their own, with limited assistance from the U.S., have been trying for the past year to interdict the flow of advanced weaponry into Lebanon and Syria. We have now obviously decided that that didn't work, that wasn't sufficient, and are now serving notice to the Iranians and their allies that if you continue to trundle down this path and continue to flow in troops and weapons, all hell is going to break loose and there will be fire and brimstone from the sky. We will see whether that works. We will see whether the Iranians take the hint, back off, and decide to go cause trouble elsewhere, or if we are now about one step away from yet another shooting war in the Middle East. The why, as to why we're not talking about it, is because the cult of personality of Barack Obama demands that we continue to maintain the fiction that he was one of our greatest presidents, that he was a genius, that he never made a misstep, and that he left the world a safer place than when he found it. Reality, unfortunately, very, very different. He was the most disastrous president when it came to national security since at least Jimmy Carter, maybe in our entire history. We will be digging out in Syria and elsewhere for at least another decade to recover. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Ground Truth.